wide receiver spot is interesting. John, I think I can live with the wide receivers not being that great because I feel as though the team needs the run game more than they need a group of wide receivers. Where I get a little concerned is when you couple it with the tight ends, because I haven't heard any good things about the tight ends. Dallas Goedert's okay, and I'm Dallas Goedert's not a part of my concern, but I mean when you're second round tight end, and I get it, he's a future pick, but when he can't even as much as compete in the slightest with Johnny Mundt. I mean, Johnny Mundt wasn't drafted or wasn't signed here to be the certified tight end too. That's not why he was signed here. And he became that because nobody pushed him even a little bit. Nobody even came close to him even a little bit, including the second round pick you spent on your tight end. I mean, when you couple the tight ends with the receiving group, that's where I get a little concerned from a sense of there's just not the right skill position players around this group right now. And that's a little bit of a concern for me. You tell me if I'm overstating it.
Well, look, it's rare where I criticize Howie for roster composition, but I do criticize him for the tight end composition. And that goes back to the draft, as you know. You would ask me questions about Eli Stowers, and I would say, I don't see how he fits here.
Yeah, pre-draft, you said that before we were taking him.
Yep. So it's rare. I mean, the reliance on Johnny Mundt is mystifying, to be honest. The guy's been around a long time. He's a third tight end. That's what he is. Very limited in the passing game, good blocker. And he has been like lock, stock, and barrel, the tight end too. What I don't know how Max Clare is doing with the Rams, but he was picked 61st. Eli Stowers was picked 54th. Now, different situation. The Rams have 100 tight ends, which is ironic because then they, still drafted Max Clare. Like if Max Clare was here, I believe he'd be starting in 12 personnel. Now he'd have to do it. He'd have to show up. He'd have to perform. Maybe he's overwhelmed. I don't know. Sam Roush, I'm looking, was 69th to Chicago. I think he would be the second tight end. Oscar Delp, I know, would be the second tight end. I loved him. He went 73 to New Orleans. I assume all these guys are healthy. Those were the next three tight ends selected. I think every single one of them would be your tight end 2 in Philadelphia. And Johnny could fit in as where he should be, the tight end 3. Every single one of them. And that is a position that keep an eye on, at the waiver wire and the trade market. Because
you don't think Zach Ertz is an option?
No.
Why is that? There's not that many tight ends available right now.
Because they need more of a dual threat. They don't need.
Right.
Plus, like I said, you bring Zach Ertz in here because of his reputation, because he means to the franchise, and people want him to get the ball. It's just, you don't want it. You don't want that situation. Now, if Dallas got hurt, then you say we need somebody. Then you might revisit. You don't want that situation. You want a role player. You want a young role player who can develop, like Max Clare, like Oscar Delp, like Sam Roush, like Eli Raritan, another one they just saw in New England. There were a lot of tight ends in this draft, and they bet on the guy who might be 2 years away from 2 years being 2 years away. That was a strange pick. I said it at the time. Don't enjoy being right, believe it or not, but that kid is not ready to play.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, what that looks like for the Eagles in the future. I guess the optimism remains just that he could be the tight
I
end
miss
in the
Nate.
long term.
I miss Nate Bokircher. He got picked 56. I missed him. So he's from
Yeah,
Texas.
what's his name like him? Didn't the Ian Cummings like him on the
Yeah,
draft show? Yeah.
he got a little bit overdrafted, I think, but yeah, he'd be the tight end too as well.
John, try and be as honest as you can, as you always are. And it's maybe too early to tell. And you, if that's your answer, that's fine. Forget this year. Do you honestly feel like Eli Stowers could become a tight end one in the future for this team?
Yeah, I mean, people can develop, but he's got a long way to go. He's got a long way to go. I was thinking, 1 year. Now it's probably a 2-year project. But I do think if he gets more comfortable playing the position and his head's not swimming and he understands his role, I think when things slow down for him, the athleticism will show up. That's when the athleticism will show up. So I think long term, there's still a chance he becomes a good player, but I think it's longer term than I thought, which was basically one season where you sort of mix in, maybe play 10 snaps a game.
Sounds like he was overdrafted.
Yeah, probably, unless you're, some teams value athleticism. The Eagles are certainly more lean towards that category. He was a phenomenal athlete. I mean, he set all kinds of records at the combine. The best vertical leap at the combine a tight end has ever had. Ever.
What does that mean, though, for playing the tight end position
Well, it what it means is explosion. That's what vertical leap shows NFL scouts.
Right.
It's not about.
All right, John. So this is the last 4 years. Goddard played 15 games. 2024, he played 10 games. 2023, he played 14 games. 2022, he played 12 games. So if we average out the last 4 years, he missed 7 games, he missed 2 games, he missed 3 games, and he missed 5 games. Let's call the average 4 games a year where Goddard has missed. He's only older. What is their plan for those 4 games if we assume Goddard will probably miss a few like he normally does?
Well, they're probably going to keep Grant Calcaterra somehow, whether it's practice squad or keeping him on the roster. And you'll just be where you were before. Maybe EJ Jenkins is still around. Stone Smart's even started to show up a little bit. They got a bunch of bodies, but it's not going to be good. And that's why everyone's looking, all right, what tight ends could be available? And everybody looks at the Rams. Now, here's my problem with the Rams.